Hi everyone, and welcome to Growing Our Retirement. Today I'm going to show you how I prep my bearded irises for the winter and the upcoming spring. We're going to talk about bearded irises. They are beautiful. In the spring, these spiky leaves come up, very architectural and add a lot of interest in the garden, and then this beautiful iris pops with a big flower head, and they're just gorgeous. And then these tend to stay for a while and they add some nice structure to your garden, but then eventually they start to get droopy and maybe a little browned. And now we're heading into fall and then into winter, and you do need to tend to your iris leaves. So for me, I have a little tip. So after gardening for 30 years, I made a rookie mistake. I planted some of these irises early in the spring before other perennials had popped up, and I didn't have my perennials marked or anything like that. So I planted something super close to other things and completely crowded out the perennials with these really tall, spiky things that hid the perennial. So I ended up having to dig them up. But I don't know about you, I don't always know exactly where I want to transplant something when I need to pull it out. And I don't necessarily always have extra space to house them until I figure that out. So when you go to the garden center and you buy plants that come in these trade gallon size containers, right? So I suggest you save a couple of these. And this is what I did. Since I didn't know when I wanted to plant them or where I wanted to plant them, I popped them in these trade gallon containers, and I'm just gonna leave them in there. They could stay in these containers for a whole season, over winter, next spring, until you figure out where you wanna put them. So keep these on hand and use them for any perennial that you need to move around and you're just not ready yet. That's my tip of the day. So here we have the irises. Now, you can see some of these have brown bits on them. It could just be that they're dying out, or I think this is from a bacteria or a fungus, especially if there's brown spots. And this is not good. So we are going to pull those out. Now don't compost these, because if that is a bacteria, you don't want this to go into your compost that you're going to add to the whole rest of your vegetable garden or flower garden in the spring. So make sure you put these someplace that you're going to just throw them away. I'm just going to make a pile for right now. And anywhere where I see one, where I see this brown bit, I'm going to cut it off. And I'm going to pull it out if I can. That one's not letting me. But otherwise I'm cutting it off. There are other brown pieces that you can just pull them out. We're trying to get this plant as clean as possible. So I'm pulling out all of the stringy brown bits. Those were easy. We're going to cut off any bacteria pieces. I'm going to put them in a different spot. Okay. And then when you have plants that don't have any bacteria, or they're just fine, they're just getting droopy and the end of the season, you just want to cut them back. You can make it interesting. You can cut it on a diagonal, because these will still be in your garden and you want it to be, semi-attractive. Like that. That's how I would leave that. And I'm going to leave this in this pot for next year. And now I have, I'm going to go a little shorter here, a trimmed iris on that one. This one I see a little bacteria, so I'm going to cut this one completely off. Cut these back. You see how simple this is? There we go. That one's all set. You can even grab a couple at a time. Cut. This one has bacteria. That's going over there. And sometimes they get bacteria because they got too much rain. You can actually neem oil them, N-E-E-M oil, and that will generally take care of the bacteria, which is awesome. I use it on everything. Powdery mildew, these brown spots, little pests, cutworms. Neem oil is terrific. Now this one's pretty bad, so I'm going to just yank this out if I can. There we go. Okay, there you have it. Now I'm going to do this to my entire garden and to all the rest that I have in pots, and then we'll be prepared for the spring, and you'll be ready to bloom and flourish like crazy. Last tip, if you feel like the plant you were dealing with had a lot of bacteria or disease on it, please take a bacterial wipe and wipe down your shears or your scissors after cutting everything back. If you are really worried about passing on bacteria, you might even want to wipe them down in between each cut. But for me, there was very little, and I'm just going to wipe them down now so that when I move on to my next pruning, I'll have no chance of spreading anything I don't want to. That's it for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this and got some tips out of it, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.